The Special Control Unit Against Money Laundering (SCOMO) was established by the federal government in September 2005 in compliance with the provisions of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2004, which was subsequently repealed and amended to Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011 as amended. SCOMO was created as part of measures for the implementation of the Financial Action Task Force FATF recommendations on anti-money laundering, combating the financing of terrorism (AML-CFT) in Nigeria. The FATF requires countries to implement 40 recommendations which are considered as international standard for combating money laundering and terrorist financing, as well as the financing of the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. The recommendations include, among others, the establishment of legal and institutional framework for the effective implementation of the AML-CFT measures in all countries. This led to the enactment of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011 as amended and the Terrorism Prevention Act 2011 as amended in Nigeria. SCOMO was created under the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011 as amended to implement specific sections of the Act in line with the FATF recommendations for the implementation of AML-CFT measures within the designated non-financial institution sector in Nigeria. SCOMO was statutorily under the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, but operationally domiciled within the EFCC, as the Commission drives the operational activities of the unit in line with Section 6C and 7.2 of the EFCC Establishment Act 2004. Recently, the new Money Laundering Act 2022 gave the EFCC its statutory responsibility of having SCOMO as one of its department. Due to the importance of SCOMO to businesses in Nigeria, the Eagle today focuses on SCOMO with the topic, why the need for a SCOMO certificate. Stay tuned as we x-ray this topic and more in the course of the program. Hello and thanks for joining us on another episode of The Eagle. The Eagle is a program that discusses economic and financial crimes matters and brings the works of the EFCC right to your doorsteps. My name is Aisha Muhammad.
I am Abdurrashid Bawa. I stand against corruption. I call on every patriotic Nigerian to lend their voices in this crusade. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. Together we will make Nigeria great.
The Administration of Criminal Justice Act Monitoring Committee has ranked EFCC's medical facility as the best in the country. The ranking was made by Justice Mabel S. Bello of the Federal High Court, Abuja. Justice Bello led a delegation of the committee to the headquarters of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in Jabi, Abuja, to monitor the detention and medical facilities of the Commission as part of the committee's function in line with Section 34, subsection 4 of the ACG 2015 that provides a judge of the High Court to at least once in a month visit federal government agencies authorized to make arrests and conduct an inspection on their detention facilities. Here are details of their visit.
According to Justice Bello, the EFCC's medical facility ranks the best out of all medical facilities accessible to suspects in the country that the monitoring committee has so far visited, as it has a texture of international standard. While speaking on the state and standard of the Commission's detention facilities, the judge, who was truly impressed, adjudged the EFCC's detention facility to be 80% better than all the other facilities visited.
In terms of medical facilities accessible to suspects, so far that I have seen in the FCT and generally in the country, I think the EFCC medical facility ranks the best so far. It has a texture of international standard.
Speaking earlier, Secretary to the Commission, Dr. George Ekpungu, described the EFCC as a standard bearer in the administration of criminal justice in Nigeria, as well as a decent organization that complies with all the extant laws of the country.
EFCC is a standard bearer in the administration of criminal justice in Nigeria. EFCC is a decent organization.
Justice Bello was accompanied on the inspection visit by other officials of ACJA.
The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) has described the Forensics Laboratory of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission as one of the best in Africa. The head Forensic and Psychological Services Unit of NSCDC, Teso Shapara, made this disclosure in Abuja while on a courtesy visit to the corporate headquarters of the EFCC. Here are details.
The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) has described the Forensics Laboratory of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) as one of the best in Africa. The head Forensic and Psychological Services Unit of NSCDC, Superintendent of Corps Teso Shapira, made this disclosure in Abuja while on a courtesy visit to the corporate headquarters of the EFCC. Superintendent of Corps Shapira said the EFCC has shown by its performance and pedigree to be a professional anti-corruption agency that other agencies can understudy. He stated that it is a fact that the EFCC's forensics department has come to stay and that the NSCD staff were at the commission to seek ways for partnership. On the issue of training and interagency collaboration, Shapira said that there is no point suffering to get across the globe what the NSCDC can just get from the EFCC.
It's a fact that the EFCC lab has come to stay, and with all that is required. I'm not just talking about here, but I was outside of this country and I know what you are doing here even better than when I was here. I can best describe the EFCC lab, the EFCC Forensic Services, as one of the best in Africa.
Responding, ACE Gideon Dashong, who represented the EFCC's Director of Forensics, ACE Benedict Agwe, explained that the Executive Chairman's approval of the visit was an indication that he is open to collaboration with other sister agencies.
The Executive Chairman for approving this visit, I would say yes, he is welcoming to this kind of level of collaboration. And by our Act, Section 6, it talks about collaboration with other agencies to foster the work of government. We are doing this with all government agencies, and we are working towards achieving the same goal of cleansing society. So in that area of collaboration, it's a discussion that will be taken at a higher level with the executive chairman. But for today, I think the purpose, what we can achieve today is to familiarize you with what we have within the forensics department, and hoping that this relationship from today is going to be stronger, as we go on.
Speaking in the same vein, head of Enlightenment and Reorientation Unit of the Commission, Aisha Mohammed, stressed that collaboration with stakeholders, especially sister agencies, is an important component of the EFCC's 2021 to 2025 strategic plan. She stated that without collaboration, the visit by NSCDC to the Commission would not have been possible.
As he rightly said earlier, but collaboration is actually one of the main purposes. Even our strategic plan, our 2021-2025 strategic plan talks a lot about collaboration. So yes, we're open to collaboration with sister agencies.
I am Mwanyima Okano reporting for The Eagle.
Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), Abdulrashid Bawa, has expressed the readiness of the EFCC to partner with the Nigerian Army on intelligence sharing and capacity building in tackling money laundering and terrorism financing in Nigeria. Bawa gave this assurance in Kaduna while addressing officers of the Nigerian Army of Artillery in Kachie local government area of Kaduna State. Here are details of this engagement and another from the Benin Zonal Command of the EFCC.
According to Bawa, modern warfare has gone beyond kinetics and exchange of gunfire. To effectively tackle terrorism and insurgency in Nigeria, the military and all the security agencies must choke the source of funding of terrorists and identify their sponsors. Bawa, who spoke through the Kaduna Zonal Commander of the EFCC, ACE Henry Erin, stated that the EFCC is the lead agency in investigation and prosecuting terrorism financing in Nigeria, and that this is done through collaboration with Nigerian military and other relevant security and law enforcement agencies. Responding, Deputy Commandant of the Nigerian Army School of Artillery, Brigadier General Emmanuel Zakari Karau, thanked the EFCC for its contribution and efforts towards tackling terrorism financing and assured that the lesson learned in the course of the lecture will be optimally applied. He stressed that the EFCC and the Army are partners in progress, hence the need for collaboration. In another development, Brigadier General D.H. Dahi, the Commander 4 Brigade, Nigerian Army, Benin City, Edo State, has expressed the willingness of the Nigerian Army to strengthen its existing collaboration with EFCC in tackling graft and other criminal activities in Edo State. He stated this when he paid a courtesy visit to the Benin Zonal Command of the EFCC. According to him, the visit was part of his familiarization tour of the state to enhance cooperation and collaboration that exists between the Nigerian Army and other agencies, including the EFCC. Responding, EFCC Zonal Commander Usman Mukhtar thanked the Brigadier General for his visit. He said the visit will further deepen the relationship between the Commission and the Nigerian Army, stressing that the EFCC and the Nigerian Army have enjoyed fruitful collaboration in the past, and all needed is to continue to maintain that relationship. Amina Kawa reporting for the Eagle.
Abbas Abubakar Omar, what do we have on the conviction update?
Well, Aisha, this week, as usual, there were quite a number of convictions recorded by the EFCC across the various commands of the Commission. From 5th to 9th September 2022, the EFCC secured a total of 96 convictions. A breakdown of the convictions showed that the Ibadan Zonal Command was the highest with 38 convictions, while the headquarters of the Commission secured 16. The Ilorin Command secured 9 convictions, while the Abuja, Kaduna and Uyo Command secured 6 convictions each. The Lagos Command got 5, while Benin, Makurdi and Sokoto Command secured 2 convictions each. Lastly, the Kano, Gombe, Enugu and Maiduguri commands got 1 conviction each, making a total of 96 convictions for the week under review. With this update, it is imperative to note that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has always advocated for transparency in both public and private sectors. The Commission also urged citizens to be transparent in every endeavor. It is our hope that together we will rebuild Nigeria. Always do the right thing. Back to you, Aisha.
The mission of SCOMO is to protect the DNFBP sector in Nigeria from the threat of money laundering and the financing of terrorism and proliferation. It also seeks to strengthen the integrity of the Nigerian financial system and contribute to the global fight against money laundering, terrorism financing, and the financing of proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. SCOMO has the mandate to monitor, supervise, and regulate the activities of DNFBPs in Nigeria in consonance with the Nigerians' AML-CFT regime. Golden Onwura is waiting in the interview room with our guest to enlighten us on the activities of SCOMO and why it is important to have a SCOMO certificate for your business. Over to you, Golden Onwura.
Thank you, Aisha. Hello and welcome to the interview segment. I'm Golden Onwura. As part of the activities to check money laundering, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, houses a department called the Special Control Unit Against Money Laundering, SCUMO. With the recent enactment of the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022, the department has been further empowered and expanded in its scope to report and prevent money laundering. I have with me ACE Mary Ibinabo Amakri. She's the second in command of the SCUMO affairs. She is here to shed light on why you need a SCUMO certificate. You're welcome to the program, ACE Amakri. A lot of people still find it hard to understand the acronym SCUMO. What does SCUMO mean and how does it relate to the business public?
Okay, thank you very much. The acronym SCUMO actually means Special Control Unit Against Money Laundering. What that means is that it is a department within the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and that became visible with the enactment of the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. So once that law was enacted, SCUMO became officially a department in the EFCC. And what it does is that it regulates, supervises and monitors activities of certain types of businesses referred to as designated non-financial businesses and professions, DNFBPs for short. These businesses and professions were hitherto designated by the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment in collaboration with the EFCC, simply because this set of businesses have been identified to be vulnerable to the activities of money laundering and terrorism financing. So some of those businesses include dealers in real estate, estate brokers, estate management, estate managers, dealers in construction companies, dealers in jewelries, precious stones and metals, supermarkets, the hospitality industry, casinos, pool betting, tax consultants, audit firms, consultants and consulting, and a whole lot of others. And you can actually check Section 30 of the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act 2020 for more of the list of businesses.
Why is it so important that businesses register with SCUMO, and does registration with SCUMO make a business authentic? Does it certify a business to be real and legitimate?
Okay, so two things are involved here. Number one, like I said, these businesses have been identified to be vulnerable to activities of money laundering and terrorism financing. So for the EFCC, the only way we can actually carry out our activities of that supervisory function is to onboard these businesses so that we can now begin to monitor them and supervise them in line with international standards. So that's the reason why they need to register with SCUMO. Having registered, then of course, we now begin a whole lot of sensitization for them on what they need to know in terms of their reporting and compliance obligations. Now, once businesses are onboarded, then of course they can now begin to seemingly do their businesses without the fear that money launderers can now use their businesses as a conduit to perpetrate their crimes. However, having the SCUMO certificate is not a proof to say that those businesses are immune from activities of fraudsters. So the SCUMO certificate is only an onboarding process and to ensure that the entry controls are in place for us to onboard these businesses. Another reason is that having a SCUMO certificate is now tied to any business having access to formal financial services. So we have collaborated with the Central Bank of Nigeria, who issued a circular way back in 2014 to say that before any of these DNFBPs can operate a bank account in Nigeria, they must present a SCUMO certificate. That does not mean that all businesses that have SCUMO certificate are free from fraud. So the public needs to be very, very aware that SCUMO certificate is not a proof or to say that those businesses are immune from fraudulent activities.
Recently, the Money Laundering Prohibition Act was, amended. It was amended recently. Has anything changed in the activities of SCUMO? after this amendment and the proper domiciliation of SCUMO in the EFCC?
Okay, just to put it right, the Money Laundering Act was not amended. It was actually repealed. The old law was repealed, meaning that the old law no longer has any effect. So a new law was actually enacted and assented to on the 12th of May 2022 by President Muhammadu Buhari. So once that law came on board, and of course the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022 and the Process of Crime Assets Recovery and Management Act 2022. So these three laws were assented to by the President on the 12th of May 2022. So the implication for SCUMO is that it actually changed the landscape for us, in the sense that it now gave SCUMO the legal status by making SCUMO a department within the EFCC. That's Section 17, subsection 1 of the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. However, the only new thing in there is that it has given SCUMO the powers to now enforce administrative sanctions, which was not there in the old Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011. So what this means for businesses is that going forward, any business, GNLBPs that defaults in their reporting and compliance obligations, SCUMO now has the power to enforce administrative sanctions in addition to the already existing criminal prosecution. So this is the key difference that businesses now need to know.
How enlightened do you think the public are on this SCUMO issue? And what is the SCUMO department doing to ensure that people are aware of what they're supposed to know concerning SCUMO?
Okay, you very well agree that Nigeria is actually a big country, and the financial sector is also very large in Africa. I think we're about the largest. And as well as the fact that the GNLBP sector is also very large, meaning that in every nook and cranny today, you see businesses springing up. Real estate firms, car dealers, hotels are springing up on a daily basis, dealers in jewelries and precious stones and metals. That's not to say that the enlightenment campaigns that we're doing is not strong, but what we do is that we carry out our activities on what we call a risk-based approach, including sensitization. So we select locations, depending on how, depending on the volume of businesses that are prevalent in that particular state or location, so that we can properly channel our resources, because we do not want to be channeling resources. They say are always scarce. So what we do is that we channel these resources to where these businesses are more prevalent and in existence. So we do targeted sensitization programs and compliance examinations. So what we do is that from time to time, periodically, we go to states like Abuja, of course, FCT, where we are as a headquarters. We go to Lagos, which is the commercial hub of the country. We go to Rivers State, Port Harcourt, Kano, and other locations to carry out targeted sensitizations of the GNLBPs themselves. And once we do that, we also expect them to go back and cascade these trainings down by doing a train the trainer. That's one of the ways that we sensitize them on what they need to know. Secondly, we also have our flyers and pamphlets that we distribute so that people can also get that flyers and read and get more information. Our website is also there and is regularly being updated so that the public can also go to the website and get all the necessary information. We also, of course, through the EFCC Public Affairs Department, all the social media handles official at EFCC is there, be it on Twitter, on Instagram, and all of that, Facebook. So these are some of the channels that we use to sensitize the public on our activities. And very soon, you're going to be seeing a whole lot of billboards in strategic locations. At the moment we have, but we are improving to ensure that we have more visibility in more states of the Federation.
How about NGOs? Are they also mandated to register with SCUMO?
Okay, so for NGOs or NPOs, as we call them, non-profit organizations, they are also mandated to register with SCUMUL. Now, what happened is simply that in the old law, the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011, they were listed as part of the DNABPs, the designated non-financial businesses and professions. And so because they were listed as part of that group of businesses, the international bodies actually raised some concerns about that. Because whatever we do, we are guided by international standards as it relates to anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism. So the standard we're talking about here is simply the Financial Action Task Force. And so for every country, countries draw up their legislation based on what they are set out in what they call the 40 recommendations. So one of the recommendations actually deal with issues of non-profit organizations. That's recommendation 8 to be specific. And so the requirement for recommendation 8 is that NGOs or NPOs should not be regarded as designated non-financial businesses and professions. And that came into light when we had the mutual evaluation exercise conducted between September and October 2019. And because Nigeria had already listed the NGOs as part of a group of businesses, the DNABPs, Nigeria was rated non-compliant.
There you have it. Now you understand the need to register your business with the Special Control Unit against money laundering, not just to protect your business, but also to avoid sanctions. Thank you for joining us. I am Golden Omura. Back to Aisha for the rest of the program.
And that's it on this week's episode of The Eagle. Here is a reminder that you can send an email to info@efcc.gov.ng and to speak to our officers on 0809 3322 644 and follow us on all our social media platforms at official EFCC. Use the EFCC mobile app, The Eagle Eye, to report any fraud you see happening around you. You download the app, follow the steps and report fraud on the go. You can also take pictures of corrupt practices and upload them. I am Aisha Mohammed, leaving you with these words that says, if it's not right, do not do it. If it's not true, do not say it. Stand for the right thing always. Stand for integrity always. Let the change begin with you and I. Goodbye. God bless Nigeria. Please do stay safe, be kind to yourself and to others, and do enjoy the rest of the week.